Hey guys, and welcome back to In Search of Tone. I wanted to make a new series, something that we can do, once a week or so, just kind of whatever, and talk about new gear, new guitars, news, just kind of whatever's going on. And I want it to be a conversation. I want to do something where, you guys can leave, you know, questions in the comments. Send me gear that you guys would like to talk about and let's just have a fun conversation. And so, without further ado, let's get into it. This is episode 1 of What's New. So, first and foremost, we have the Line 6 HX1 Guitar Multi-Effects Floor Processor. Now, okay, so yeah, there's a ton of HX stuff out there, right? This one's a little different. Most of your HX stuff is, they're all multi-effects, but there's a lot going on. It's just one pedal. So basically, you get one effect at a time. Now, that might seem like a little bit of a downfall, but think about it this way. So you've got a pretty complete pedal board already. Maybe you're already running some of the HX gear and you've run out of DSP. Maybe you don't need, the whole big processor, but you want more different delays, you want some different reverbs, and you just don't want to have all those individual pedals. That's where this guy comes in real handy. It is not much bigger than, any other, I wouldn't say single pedal, like any of your dual pedals, your dual overdrives. Think your Strymon pedals that, have the 2-foot switches, stuff like that. This is going to be about that size. Now, what's neat about it is, I got to actually click on the thing. So, $299.99. All right. Honestly, not a bad deal. Look at other decent reverbs and delays on the market. I mean, a lot of drive pedals are kind of getting that way. It's not as bad of a deal as some might think, and especially with all the power that you're going to get, out of a Line 6 product. So let's scroll down a little bit. Here we go. So you have 250, well, it says more than 250 HX series effects emulations on tap. So what you have is you've got all the effects. You've got all the drives, you've got the delays, the reverbs, compressors, modulation, everything, right? You don't have the amp models. That's the one thing that this is missing. So like I said, this is more like I need these, but I don't need them all the time. Now it is MIDI. So if I can find a picture, so you've got MIDI in and MIDI through. So, if you're running other MIDI pedals or like I said, if you're running the HX stuff, you can have it set to where on different settings, this is doing different things. The one, I think, downfall of it is that you're kind of limited to whether it's going to be a drive or it's going to be, a time-based kind of thing. Your modulations could go on either end. So that's, it is what it is. That's fine. But I would say if this thing has a downfall, that's kind of it. One really neat thing that I found is it's powered 9-volt 500 mAh. So there's a lot of power supplies that are going to be able to handle this thing no problem. As well as, you've got your USB. You can plug it into the computer. You can set up all your presets on the computer using your Line 6 software, which, again, if you are familiar with the HX products, this thing's going to be easy to set up. Basic, form factor, like I said, it's 2-foot switches. This tap flux thing is kind of neat. So while you're on your delays, this can be a tap tempo. I would imagine that might work for the tremolos too. But the flux portion of that, so if it's not used as a tap function, it will actually change parameters within whatever effect that you're using. And so, say sometimes you need a really, really big reverb and sometimes you need it to be quite a bit scaled back. So you can just tap that switch and on you go. So yeah, man, I think it's actually pretty cool, honestly. And like I said before, $299 for the quality that you're going to get from these HX products and the amount of usage a guy could get out of it. I mean, compare it to anything. Compare it to any delays out there, like good delays, good reverbs. You're getting your money's worth. Absolutely. Number 2 on the list is the Earthquaker Devices Zor. Now, the Zor is a new distortion pedal. Now, this guy is, well, actually, let's just read what Earthquaker Devices has to say about it. Zor is a medium to high gain discrete distortion using only transistors, no op amps or diodes, that has the touch-sensitive amp-like quality to it that everyone craves. It has been finely tuned to create a highly tweakable, hi-fi, and modern-sounding distortion, but with the ghosts of old-school circuitry to deliver a grind that is both instantly familiar and delightfully unique. Want that defined sparkle and tightness of an overdrive? This has it. Want the low to medium gain fuzz? This is perfect for drop-tuned guitars and basses. This has it. This one kind of piques my interest. I've never actually used an Earthquaker Devices distortion. I know they have a couple of overdrives and I believe they have some fuzz. Actually, they've got a boost that I'm very interested in. I just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. This one seems like, you could tune this in to be your lead tone. So, it says it does that fuzz thing. And so I've been reading about this guy, and it's this weight control here. So this you can kind of think about like a resonance control in an amp. It's giving you your overall low end, and then you tweak the rest with your bass, middle, and treble down here. Well, that kind of fuzz tone on leads can actually be really, really nice, but it's not something that you want to maybe necessarily be like voicing chords with and stuff. So this one definitely piqued my interest and is something that I'm going to have to try. And next on the list is another Earthquaker Devices product. Now, Earthquaker Devices has been kind of one of my favorite pedal companies for a while now. I actually only run one of their pedals, but I have played through quite a few. And if I had the space on my board, I would probably have a couple more. This one's kind of cool. It's their new Tri-Voice Chorus. And what's new about it is, if we scroll down, the 3 modes are vibrato, chorus, and rotary chorus. Now there's other pedals out there that are, that are tri-voiced, but that rotary thing, that sounds kind of interesting. I would have to actually, hear it and play with it and whatnot. But that right there, I mean, that kind of piques my interest. And the other thing about it is you have a rotary knob with presets. And yeah, that could be a little bit cumbersome if you can't switch the presets via a foot control. But not actually that bad because, you're probably only going to have, one preset per song that you're playing. So I don't see that being too much of an issue there. Definitely something I've got to try. And actually, there were a couple other recently released Earthquaker pedals that I was very, very interested in. I just did not select them for this video. And on to the last. Okay, so Ashdown. These guys aren't new to guitar amps. They've made, they've made amps in the past for guitars, and they do have a current line that's maybe not so well known. Honestly, apart from their bass amps, I didn't really know much about them at all until recently. And one of my buddies got one of their hybrid bass amps, so it's got a tube preamp, but it is a, I don't know, I can't remember, it's like 1,000 watt solid state. It's got a lot going on. And yeah, ew, solid state. Well, bass amps, a lot of them are solid state anymore. But having that tube preamp, man, it really does sound good. And Ashdown has one of the classiest looks ever. I don't know, maybe not everybody's into that thing, but you've got the VU meter, which actually does move. I don't know what it's actually measuring, but it moves. It's cool. It's, yeah, it may be gimmicky, but it's cool. And they've got that old school radio kind of aesthetic. I don't know. It's just neat. The whole package. They are cool looking amps. And, if the guitar amps are anything like the bass amps, they're gonna sound pretty amazing. So this one here is a tube guitar amp. And I don't think there's anything really solid state about this one. There are a couple others that they've got that are, but this one features, let's see, one ECC 81, one ECC 82, and two ECC 83 tubes. And that's going to be your preamp selection. Your ECC 83s. That's a 12AX7. I don't know what the 82 and 81 are. Probably like an AT7, AY7, something like that. And then it has a quartet of EL84s in the power section. So that is the smaller EL tube. The 34 being the larger. I think it's kind of neat. I would be interested to hear what this guy actually sounds like. With the 84s, you could be getting into kind of like AC30 kind of territory. And that's kind of what I would hope for out of something like this. Now, if you look at the front panel here, it's got a UK and US input. I'm going to assume that it's just changing your tone stack just a little bit, maybe shifting the mids. Probably doing something a lot like what Blackstar does with their, what is it called? The IFS control. You do have a front FX loop, which I could do without. I would rather have it in the back of the amp. The less cords coming out of the front, the better. And in fact, I like using right angle cables and actually have them run underneath the head. So all you see is just that little bit of cable coming down. The more hidden, the better. I like that cleaner look. So obviously, that's an aesthetic thing. It's not going to make any difference in, how this thing sounds. Now, this thing does have a feature that, we've seen before, but it's not as prevalent as you would think at this point in the game. And that is the Two Notes technology built into it. So if we scroll down here, so you have the onboard Two Notes Torpedo. And anybody that's been kind of watching gear for the last, I don't know how many years, you would know that Rev Amplification kind of started this whole thing with the Two Notes built into their amps with their It was the G series and the D series amps, the little 20 watters, and now they've actually found a way to make it work in their big boy amps, the Generator 120. So again, this isn't new, but I think apart from Rev, this is the only other company that I've seen actually putting this in there. You know, everybody's got an emulated direct output, but how good is it? And can you load your own IRs? Now, so that's where this one gets, well, there's just not enough information. Let's just put it that way. There's not enough information. So it talks about the Two Notes torpedo technology. It says that you have 6 well-known speaker cabinets to choose from, preloaded in those 6 preamp slots. Oh wait, nope. It looks like they've updated their website since the last time I looked at it. So you have complete control. Update and edit your onboard IR cabinets with the USB or even use the Bluetooth app. So that actually answers a number of my questions on this amp is, you know, can you control the Two Notes software the same way that you would on the Rev amps? And it looks like you absolutely can do that. So yeah, man, this amp is very intriguing. Let's just put it that way. I would love to actually get a chance to play through this thing. $17.99, basically $1,800. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. Yeah, it's pretty on par with, you know, the Rev stuff that is Two Notes loaded. I think the D series is like 1,500, 1,600, and the G series is 1,700, 1,800. If I remember right, I would have to look that up to be sure. But I mean, we're dollars and cents probably difference between the two, and this is going to be a little bit different of a flavor. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. Please, please, please leave some comments down in the comment section letting me know what kind of gear you guys are interested in talking about. And I'll see you guys on the next one.